Fiona Harvey's legal case just got a little bit more sticky. It seemed a couple of days ago that it was a clear-cut case after the Roth law firm released a document to Lad Bible, which stated that Fiona Harvey had no criminal convictions whatsoever, as stated by a basic DBS check. Basic being the pivotal word there. Yesterday, I went through the entire DBS system and basically outlined how that basic DBS means diddly squat, because there are other levels of DBSs, like an enhanced or a standard DBS, which would show criminal convictions from a further back period. And I also outlined how certain criminal convictions can be almost wiped clean from the gov.uk website. If you want to kind of take a look at that, go and check out yesterday's video and it will get you up to speed and get you a bit of context with regards to this video. So I posted that video. Reading through the comments today, there was a fantastic comment that was read out. So yesterday's video obviously covered the UK's legal side. So bear in mind, Fiona Harvey is going for Netflix in the US and the UK. So UK, she's got one of the top lawyers in the entire of the UK. And in the US, she's got one of the biggest law firms in the Roth law firm to attack Netflix there as well. So the UK obviously was covered by the DBS. But Venus Curtis 1, I hope you don't mind me sharing your comment, but they stated, there's an article in MSNBC stating that Fiona's lawsuit will run into the First Amendment, and asked me to basically do a video. Now I was like, that's interesting, I wonder what that means. So I did a little bit of digging and I found the original article, which states, Martha's suit against Netflix for Baby Reindeer will run into the First Amendment. Our robust First Amendment tradition demands that artists, including authors, directors and performers, be able to express themselves and share those expressions with the public. Now, of course, being in the UK, I'm not exactly up to scratch with my amendments. I know a few of them based off of, pop culture movies and stuff, but I did some digging on what the First Amendment is, and this is from the US Congress.gov website, and it says, the First Amendment, Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or of the right for the people to peaceably to assemble and to petition the government regardless of grievances. So basically it is freedom of speech in essence. To basically cut a very long story short, the First Amendment, these are obviously screenshots. Thank you to my fantastic fiance Lainey for showing me this. But she Googled what does the First Amendment mean in the US, and we've got an overview and the purpose. So the overview, the First Amendment guarantees freedoms from concerning religion, expression, assembly to the right to petition. It forbids Congress from both promoting one religion over another and also restricting an individual's religious practices. And then the purpose, the First Amendment provides that the Congress makes no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting its free exercise. It protects freedom of speech from the press, assembly, and the right to petition the government for a redress of grievances. The Second Amendment gives citizens the right to bear arms. Okay, so basically, to cut a very long story short, the idea is that it's freedom of speech. And it is said within this MSNBC article that we're going to read in a moment that basically Richard Gadd and Netflix are pretty much untouchable because of this amendment, because they have exercised their free speech. And Richard Gadd, as the producer, I guess one of the directors as well, and also the author of the original screenplay, he has presented Baby Reindeer as his truth. Now that's an important part, because if it was the truth, then it would be a little bit different, but because it's his truth, it comes under free speech. So let's read the article. Fiona Harvey, the apparent inspiration for the character Martha in the hit Netflix series Baby Reindeer, has sued Netflix and comedian Richard Gadd, the writer, director and star of the series, for portraying Martha as a character who stalks and sexually assaults Donnie, the main character who's based on Gadd. Netflix described the series as a, quote, true story. Now, there is some discrepancies with that, where basically people have outlined that it is labelled as a true story, but in the writing of Donnie, not Richard Gadd, which would make it a fictional true story, which is very hard to kind of get your head around. But it's like Donnie, the fictional character, has written this as a true story within the world of a fictional story, which would then make the whole thing fiction, though labelled as truth. It's very difficult to understand. Anyway, there appears to be little doubt that Harvey's life has been raked over the coals by the internet sleuths who identified her as the, quote, real-life Martha. She has undoubtedly suffered greatly as a result of being exposed by the person apparently behind the key character in the series, but our robust First Amendment tradition demands that artists, including authors, directors, and performers, will be able to express themselves and share those expressions with the public. People may suffer as a result of the law that often favours protecting the rights of those seeking to share communication, even if vile and harmful, over those who seek to be let alone. So that's basically saying that in some instances, or there have been some instances, where the law has favoured the writers and protagonists of the shows or the books in this kind of scenario. So let's say this did go to court in America, of course. The First Amendment Netflix could say, well, this is, I'm just exercising my right to my First Amendment, which would be free speech, which basically means that as an author, Richard Gadd could write this as his true story and true events without, legal ramifications, because he's exercising free speech. It's a very confusing way of... I had to take the morning to kind of get my head around this. As explained on Netflix's website, Baby Reindeer centres on the struggling comedian Donnie Dunn, or Gadd, strange and layered relationship with a woman named Martha, Jessica Gunning, whose initially friendly demeanour unravels as she begins to stalk Donnie relentlessly. The series is based on the show that Gadd has been performing for years. Harvey alleges that Gadd and Netflix fabricated, quote, brutal lies about her, including that she is a twice convicted stalker who's sentenced to 5 years in prison, and she, quote, sexually assaulted Gadd. Harvey, who says that she has never been convicted of a crime or gone to prison, never sexually assaulted Gadd, never stalked him or a police officer, and never attacked him, vehemently denies that Baby Reindeer is a true story. Harvey claims that her, quote, identity was completely undisguised, and within days of the release of Baby Reindeer on April 11, 2024, members of the public identified her as the basis for the Martha character. There's no denying that. I mean, there was a huge lack of... when you look at how... I can't remember what the producer's name was that did all those horrific sexual acts on Donnie. But if you look at his character in comparison to Martha, no one's been able to actually pinpoint that producer. But they have Martha. Now, yes, there is an argument to be made that on the Piers Morgan interview, Fiona Harvey outed herself. It was never... Richard Gadd and Netflix have never confirmed that Fiona Harvey is actually Martha. They just, but neither have they denied that she is. There was the interview with, I think it was the person that played Terry in the show, the transgender woman on the Gotham Awards night, and she stated that they made a pact together that they wouldn't watch the Fiona Harvey interview, which subliminally tells me, now I can't confirm this, which subliminally tells me that there is an element of truth to what Fiona Harvey was saying. Otherwise, they could just be like, well, we're not going to watch that because she's not the person that, that inspired Martha. But they didn't. They said, we're not going to watch it because, well, for whatever reason, they've chosen not to. So it's interesting. Harvey alleges that Gadd and... we've read that part. Harvey claims that her identity was completely undisguised, and within days, we've spoke about that, she was also able to be easily identifiable. Harvey alleges that because of then publicly accessible posts that she made on Twitter, now X in 2014, as a result, Harvey contends that she has been tormented and suffered severe mental and emotional physical distress. We don't yet have Netflix and GAD's court filing responding to Harvey's suit, only a vow from Netflix to, quote, defend this matter vigorously and stand by Richard Gadd's right to tell his story, which again, that is an important point right there that links in with the First Amendment of freedom of speech. If Harvey was defamed, as she claims, then she would succeed on her claims. But whether she can succeed on a defamation claim will depend on whether, quote, Baby Reindeer portrays truths or falsities. The success of her claims will also depend on a part in whether she was identifiable. Now, of course, changing someone's name would mean that they are then unidentifiable, but at the same time, they hired an actress who spoke with these. She's British and English, but she spoke with a Scottish accent within the show. Very similar words that were used as the tweets. They used the exact same tweets within the show, which obviously made her very identifiable. So there could be a case made there, but at the same time, it's very murky waters, and I think it truly comes down in this kind of case to the judge that you've got kind of proceed in the court case. But Gadd previously said in an interview, "We've gone to such great lengths to disguise her to the point where I don't think she would recognise herself. However, given how quickly people on the internet identified Harvey as Martha, Gadd's statement seems more aspirational than based on reality." And while Harvey is referred to in the series as Martha and not Fiona, Harvey alleges that little else about her identity was changed. She says that in the suit that, like Martha, she is a, quote, Scottish lawyer living in London, 20 years older than Gadd, accused of stalking a lawyer in the newspapers and article. And she says that she, quote, bears an uncanny resemblance to Martha, which I think is obviously very true. It's a fair point to be made by Fiona Harvey. Obviously, it's just murky waters, and it's down to depiction and how I guess it's down to how the case is received and how it's presented. I mean, it's a really tough one. It's a really tough one to know which way this is going to go. It's important to separate Harvey's defamation claims from the allegations that Gadd and Netflix violated her right of publicity under California common law and the statutory law. Those allegations should not succeed. To succeed on her common law or statutory causes of action, Harvey must show that Gadd and Netflix used her identity for their benefit without her consent and caused her to suffer an injury. While using the person's name or likeness in advertising is quintessential example of violation of this tort, the problem for Harvey is that Baby Reindeer is an expressive work of entertainment, and that is obviously outlined within the end credits, in which on the very final screen of the credits it states that this is a work of, although this is based on true story, many events, people, locations and stuff have been exaggerated and dramatized for the show. So, you know, Netflix obviously dotted their I's and crossed their T's with that one. But we'll take a little look at this in a moment. In the decades-old Haynes versus Alfred A. Knopf Inc., the Seventh Circuit found the possibility of the involuntary loss of privacy is recognised in the modern formulations of this branch of the privacy tort, which require not only that private facts publicised be such as would make reasonable person deeply offended by such publicity, but also that they facts in which public has no legitimate interest. That was very difficult to read for some reason. And here the public is interested. Baby Reindeer is hugely popular. That it is. It is. I mean, it was trending in like 26 different countries at one point. It was crazy. Harvey's right to publicity should not be measured just against the public's rights to consume information. There is an additional First Amendment issue at play. Gadd is not a detached reporter, but is sharing what he says is his own story. Important point. Again, if the story he claims is true is actually false, then he should be liable for defamation. But if his story is true, then those around him likely need to suffer the fallout of his decision to share it. Harvey's allegations concerning her rights to publicity present a classic battle between privacy rights and the First Amendment rights of artists and their audience. Privacy rights should not be used to trample the artistic license. That said, it may be time to recalibrate what we think of as the balance between the privacy rights and the freedom of expression to account the fact that the internet allows us to learn more about each other than what was previously possible. But unfortunately, some individual members of our society will face significant injuries to their rights to be let alone and to their reputation when others create art. And that's because we see their needs as being outweighed by the need to allow writers, producers, actors and directors to practice their trades and right the audience to consume what they produce. Censorship is more dangerous than deeply hurt feelings. So that is the MSNBC article. Now, I would love to make a little call out to any lawyers over in the States or over in the UK to, if you are willing to come onto this channel, because I would absolutely love to speak to someone from the legal background to understand your thought processes regarding this case. Of course, yesterday I presented the DBS check. I presented the DBS check and showed how the one that was provided for by the Roth law firm wasn't exactly sufficient to the case. And I also outlined how today the First Amendment could be a bit of a sticky point for Fiona Harvey's legal case. So I want to hear what you guys have to say. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Again, if there's any lawyers or legal representatives that would love to come onto the channel, you don't have to come on camera if you don't want to. I would just love to hear your thoughts and opinions regarding this case. Let me, reach out to me, DM me on Instagram, Facebook, or email me at laneyandben@gmail.com. Anyway, guys, I hope that you have enjoyed today's video. I hope it's been informative. I hope it's kind of provided a bit of clarity to the entire situation. While you're down there talking about it, be sure to scare the hell out of that like button, subscribe if you're new, click my little bell so you get notified whenever we upload to the channel. And until next time, guys, I hope that you have enjoyed. I cannot wait to see you in the next one, and I'll speak to you later. Peace.